What's up, guys and gals? My name is Splattercat, and in today's episode, it is Operation Repel the Vikings, which I don't know how you repel a Viking. I think it has something to do with either table manners or B, loot fisk, because loot fisk is gnarly. Now, what we need to do is, if we're going to be skirmishing all day, every day, we need to go back. First, we need to stock up on food, so let's get ourselves a bunch of food that isn't bread. And sell off some of this other stuff so that we're not losing money every turn. The unfortunate circumstance we find ourselves in is that I sold off, well, all of the private enterprises that I bought are in Nordic land, so we're losing a lot of money right now just by the kind of fact that we exist. Let's go back and we're going to go to, oh, I can't go to Qdan. Well, balls. Balls on you then. Balls all over you. Let's go to Sungechi and we'll get our army first and then we'll worry about other things. I know you ain't messing around in my land, Sunjar Khan. You better not be. Best watch out before I roll out on you. I ain't forgot about you. I know you're still there. I need to make peace with the Kyrgyz right now. That's a big thing that I need to do. Let's keep all of our recruits. And then from there, we're going to get rid of some of these guys. And I like to start from scratch. That's just what I like to do when I'm setting up an army. It's just me personally. It's what I like to accomplish. So we'll take the marksmen. We'll get them on out of here. And the first thing we want is we want our knights back. So where are they? There we go. So we've got our knights back. I'm going to try and organize these into the order that they're going to deploy in as well as we play the game, because I don't like to find myself in a spot where like none of your knights zone in, but you get like a bunch of recruits and you're just like, you're like, I am so frustrated right now. I'm going to take just about everything that I had before that needed to be leveled up, because this is a good opportunity to get people tiered up, because we're about to tell a sad story of murder and destruction. And so in the course of getting everybody up tiered, what we want to do is actually take a lot of these guys that aren't upgraded with us and just have a big Zerg mob of unupgraded troops. And once we have those, we'll come back with a fully trained army, hopefully, on the back end of it all. Rock Spearman, alright, whatever, I don't really want you around. He's like, oh, but I'm a nice guy. I have a really great personality. Lots of crossbowmen in this group. Who else am I missing here? I'll take the mercenary cavalrymen. The veterans, that's who we need. So let's take some of these veterans on out. And then let's sort here for just a moment. So this is going to be one of those boring bubble sort moments where I got to figure out where I want everything. And so we definitely want them to deploy along with our knights. Lazalit, what are you doing? There we go. So that's a better order. And the other thing we want to deploy a lot of with us when we go on out of here is, honestly, everything else is looking pretty terrible right now. So I think between the knights and everything else, the mercenary horsemen, we want that at the top of the list too. And then other things, Vaegir veterans might be nice to have near the top somewhere, and then that should be fine, I think. I mean, I'm not going to concern myself too heavily, but since a lot of these guys are just kind of grist for the mill type troops, and then that should lower our weekly costs too. Yeah, so our weekly costs are down by about 800 or so. Let's ride out over here, and we're going to fight with Nords for a little bit and make sure. So the big thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that Nords is not looting all of our knight, like we want to be constructing knights non-stop. Like we want to go through, we want to be like a scion of the darkness, just constructing knight all the time. And what they are doing is they're raiding out all the locations that I get my knights from. And so what that means is we really need to destroy them. We need to kind of police this area since Swadia isn't doing a very good job of it. And I don't blame them because they're at war with both. If I was at war like Swadia was right now, I'd be very concerned. They're at war with both Rhodoks and they're at war with Nords. And so they got the biggest people on the map beating them up. They've also got a very dangerous army with a lot of archers beating them up. So let's kind of ride around the capitals here and see who we can find. King Ragnar's right there. He's going to try and run us down. Oh, there's... who is that? Reichsen? Let's go fight with Reichsen. And so there's battle number 1 for the episode. Reichsen! You may have heard that we have defeated all of your peers, but you are next. Your peers will be destructed. There will not be a single peer left. Your peer-to-peer client network will be awfully degraded. Let's go take 2 right there. Set some archers up on the hill. Some infantry up right there. And then, yeah, let's just have them charge at the moment since they are making a big gambit for the field. We'll have our knights run on in here. Hopefully we don't end up with a lot of casualties. They do have a lot of spearmen sometimes when they deploy, so it can work out pretty poorly for you. Our biggest hope right now is that we can make it through a bunch of these battles without losing a lot of knights. And then infantry get on in there too. We've already made a big dent in them. They are disrupted. They are no longer in a good line. So looking dangerous over here, so I'm going to apply my skills at stabbing, slashing, and otherwise bashing to make sure that nothing bad happens. We do have some people that look like they got on horse, but I don't think they're going to be from our faction, so it should be alright. One guy knocked out. I'll take that with regards to how this battle could have played out. One guy getting knocked out is way better than more than one guy getting knocked out. One may be the loneliest number, but we don't want anybody joining him right now. Is that it? Is that everybody? Oh, they're going to get to reinforce, or is there one horseman left? Nope, they didn't get to reinforce. Fantastic. I don't want them to re-or-in my force. I want neither of those things to happen. He managed to escape. We will take the capture, because why not? We're almost out of food, so we may want to hit up Suno or something to see if we can get more food. Ayenda's looted. Nameha's looted. God. Lots and lots of problems here. If you are of the Swadian persuasion, you're having a rough time. We also may need to break off our quest for a brief amount of time to see. I'm looking for locations that say being raided, if you're wondering why I keep panning out to the major map right here. I'm trying to look for locations where they may be making a push for land, and we'll fight Freichin right now too. Ah, damn. Alright, so we didn't get at him. Why did we... What happened right there? Why did we lose Aiden? Damn it. Sometimes I get frustrated with the pathfinding. Like, he was still within eyeshot of us. So there's the King's army right there. We don't want to skirmish with him at all. Let's go a few more infantry right there to flesh out our infantry force. We're going to continue turning all of our Swadians into knights. Let's get some of these little guys upgraded too, because it will help us out. This big blob of troops right here should pretty rapidly become high tier after a couple battles. Alright, so with the men-at-arms, we want them to be up at the top so that they level up a little bit quicker, they get into combat, and they get to beat people up more often. We also want our Vaegier Guard to deploy for sure up in the front of our troops. And since the King is here, that doesn't leave a lot that I can accomplish. Who's fighting over there? Forest Bandits. How many people have joined that? Enough. 648, not something that we're going to be able to swing the pendulum on, unfortunately. Let's go find ourselves some food, although I think we may have to actually go all the way down to the Saranid territory to make sure that happens. Which is kind of depressing. And so they've sent another assassin at us, so they can't defeat us fairly. They're going to try and beat us to death with arrows and javelins. Trying to look really quickly and see if I can see anything, but chances are no. Off with his head, off with his head. And I wanted to keep moving forward because I had a sneaking suspicion there might be somebody behind me. Which is a good skill to have, especially if you've done prison time. The skill at knowing if somebody's behind you. Over here, we've got... I'll fill out on bread. I don't know why everybody has so much damn bread, and nobody has anything else. Apparently, that's just going to be the line of production that everybody is running. Get rid of these hats and things. And everything else, we're going to try and fill in with extra goodies. Let's go over to Jelkala. Maybe see if we can get some fish out of it. There we go. It's a little bit better. A little bit of variety in that diet. We'll also make a run out to Yalen and see if we can do it twice. Because what's better than doing it once? Doing it twice. Giggity. There we go. And so now that we're on the offensive, I want to make sure I have like loads of food all the time and I don't have to do this again anytime soon. So there's a bunch of money. I'll just give you all my money, and then you can give me all of your goods, and then I think we'll be alright. There's a ransom broker over here. Mercenary swordsman. You gentlemen can join up. Oh, never mind. We're full. Never mind. You can't join up. I won't allow it. You can't piss on hospitality. God. Are any of you guys like Troll 2 fans out there? I've never watched Troll 2, but I watched like a documentary about Troll 2 and like various clips from the internet. And the feeling I get is that I need to go watch Troll 2. It's got the, if you don't know what Troll 2 is, it's a movie that has the worst Rotten Tomatoes rating. It was voted by Rotten Tomatoes the worst movie of all time. Both on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. Both. Why are we not getting involved? I want to get involved. I want to beat up Uriah. Surrender or die, Uriah. And he's got God, just a mob of horses right here. If I saw this coming over the hill at me, I'd just be like, welp, I concede. I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone lately, and so that's why I'm talking about concessions being made. I don't know if you guys play Hearthstone. I do play Hearthstone pretty frequently. I've got about 200 games. I'll put it like this. I got the game 5 days ago, and I've played about 200 games. So I've been playing it a lot. I mean, a ton. For the 30 men that he has, this is actually like a higher tier troop count. A lot of guys in here. I'm seeing a lot of shinies. But it's not going to matter. I mean, their shinies are outweighed by the fact that we have like things such as banded mail and shields with really, really high resistance. And horses. Horses help out too. Horses don't hurt unless they bite you. Horses like to bite. I had a horse bite me one time and I was like, oh, you bitch. I was like really upset about it. Like that was the sound. I was like, ah. Like it was kind of like one of those times where you're like, ah. Ow, that hurt so much. Ah. I had a donkey step on my foot too. I hung out at my friend had a ranch. Like, my family was po folks, but my friend's family owned like a horse ranch, and they were like really rich because like their dad like ran Boeing or something like that. I don't know. He was like some bigwig with Boeing or something of that nature. Fun fact, later on down the line, he was indicted for some kind of like embezzlement charges or something, and now he lives in Colombia. Like their entire family just uprooted and fled to Colombia. The craziest things, like who would have thought that you would have like been playing with your Legos with a family that later on would have fled to Colombia to avoid being like extradited. Crazy, crazy stuff. But anyways, tax evasion aside, that's why I got to hang out at a ranch. I got to be that peasant that hung out on a ranch. And I think I told this story already, but what they used to do is they had this really like lame horse. This horse sucked. This horse was like the D- student of all the horses on the ranch. And since I didn't know how to ride a horse, but I wanted to ride a horse, what they would do is, because little kids don't know the difference anyways, they would take me and they would sit me on this stupid, like this, it was a lame horse. And no matter what you did, this horse wouldn't move. It would just like stand there. It would just hang out and sit in the corner of the arena. And so I got to watch all my friends ride around on horses and be like rich badasses. And I got to be the poor kid on the corner sitting on a horse or a donkey that couldn't do like jack shit. It sucked. It sucked a lot. But then again, I didn't know how to ride, so maybe they're just trying to keep me safe. So in hindsight, I mean at the time it seemed really, really lame. But in hindsight, I understand why they did it. But still, now they have no horses. And they more than likely speak Spanish a lot more prolifically than they did before. I remember they were like really rich. Like for example, the kid's mom, I don't remember her name, but the kid's mom had like diamond teeth. Like it was the most crazy thing I've ever. She had a grill. She had a rich people grill, and so like her 4 front top teeth had diamonds embedded in them. Like it was interesting. It was interesting. Like in their living room, they had a carousel, and I was like, what? You have a carousel in your living room? How does this even happen? They had a carousel, so every kid wanted to go hang out with them. I mean, every kid was like, let's go hang out at their house, because their house is super awesome. They had like a waterfall with all kinds of crazy stuff in the background. And for me, who was used to eating like mac and cheese every night, it was just kind of like one of those things where like, I want to go to their house. They eat like crazy food all the time. My parents were like, sure, go to their house. They have lots of food and stuff that we don't have to pay for. And so we lost a knight right there. Disappointing, but we'll be upgrading somebody. We're going to let him go. I should be taking prisoners, all things considered, because I need the money. I'm not going to capture any of their goodies, but for right now, I'm not trying to make them grumpy with me. I'm trying to make a lot of friends so that later on down the line, once we get down to it, people will want to join our kingdom because they'll be friends with us, but they'll be angry at their own lord. Let's run down Aiden if we can make it. I'm sorry, Ayam. I thought that was Aiden. It's got 110 versus his 76. I'm going to have everybody follow me for just a minute to make sure that I've got a good head count on what he's fielding right now. Doesn't look like he's got a whole lot of cavalry. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and get a hold of our archers. Archers! Archers on the hill! Put the archers right there on the corner of the hill. Infantry will put them in like a little reverse hill defense, like just kind of give them a little bit of defilade so they're hanging out right behind that little hillock right there. A little divot in the ground. It's a little bit of a run in the hill's hose. It's never good when your hose run. Anyways, oh my god. The jokes that we come up with here. And And then once they've decided a bit more astutely what they want to do, they have a lot of skirmishers, so I think it may be in our best interest to send in the cavalry right now, since we don't have a lot of skirmishers and we don't have a lot of shields either. A lot of our infantry right now are lower tier, and so the charge that we're going to get right here may be the best course of action for us. Now, I'm going to have the infantry come in right afterwards. They're going to collapse because this corner is going to fold like a piece of paper the second that these guys start to rally, because I saw a lot more, like, we had less knights run in on that side, and given that our infantry are situated on that side already, that means they're going to hit that side that might fold. They're going to reinforce it. And that's kind of one of those little things that I don't even have to plan it. The AI is just going to do it for us the second that I give the charge order. And so there it is. Another easy battle won. Did they reinforce or did those hang back? Not even sure what happened right there. That was a little weird. Definitely like an oddity right there. Not something that I was ready for. I always wish that I was an accountant so that at some point I could say that there was an oddity, but it was like an A-U-D-I-T-Y, so like if there was like an oddity in my audit, it would be an oddity. And I've been waiting to use that joke for a long time, and I distinctly fear that I may never be able to use that joke based on the fact that I will never be an accountant. I will never be a CPA. My CPAing dreams are doomed. So if you are a CPA and you hang out at the Nerd Castle, you're living the dream, my friend. You are living the dream. Part of me is going to get up in their territory. I don't even care how many people join this fight. It's going to be 110 versus 182. Whatever. I don't care. We have a battle advantage of -1. It's not really going to matter. We're going to be able to wipe out a lot of lords right here in this one big battle. Oh, yeah. Fight their lords then. I mean, don't even... It looks like they're not even going to give me the opportunity to set up my fight, so... Let's just hang out and murder. This one could be a bit more dangerous for us, but I think we still are in a really, really good position to win it. I hear the sound of javelins flying through the sky, like the Reading Rainbow. The kids on Reading Rainbow, don't do Reading Rainbow, kids. It makes you fly high up in the sky. Good old LeVar Burton. Like, I think Reading Rainbow could have been a lot more popular while I'm thinking about it. So the problem is that I find that I've become just a ridiculous critic of everything nowadays. And so one of the things I found about oh, there's a crossbow right there. There are several crossbows. And that leads me into a line of attack that is problematic. Oh, I almost got that guy, but not quite. Our lords may be tapering out here, or our knights. Knights, lords, same thing. I'm not gonna like split hairs here over medieval terminology. And I don't want to get couched by him. You'd figure her arm would be tired right now, but then again, there are medieval stories of guys who are like so strong that they could just hang out on a battlefield for like 8 hours at a time, just beating people to death all day long. That's like crazy right there. If you think about how strong people must have been back in medieval times who were in battle, it had to be absolutely ridiculous because they trained like 9 hours a day in their armor. I mean, you could take it at face value right there. Anybody that could wear plate mail for like 6+ hours and not get tired and just continue wiping out the enemy all day long, wearing plate mail and wielding like a claymore or anything else for that amount of time, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that's a guy right there that you definitely don't want to arm wrestle. Even by modern standards, he would have to just be mighty as hell. He'd probably make like those strongman competitions. Actually, I bet that's probably what they look like. They're probably like the dudes in those strongman competitions that they run here in the US and over in like, oh, Eastern Europe, and they do them over in Scandinavia a lot of the time too. I noticed that the hosts tend to have names like Thor Magnusson and all kinds of names like that. And so I figure that the people that participate in those strongman competitions, at least from the few times that I've watched them on like ESPN 40 or anything like that, the thing that I've noticed is maybe you've got like 1 or 2 Americans there, maybe, yeah, like 1 guy from the US, maybe 1 or 2 dudes from Canada, but the wide distribution of people that seem to participate in those strongman competitions are like Central European people, Eastern European, and Scandinavian. Occasionally you'll see people from Western Asia getting down in it, and really all it is, if you don't know what the strongman competitions are, it's big beefy sausage men like lifting heavy rocks and all kinds of crazy shit and pulling semis with their teeth. There is a car haul. It's a literal thing. Just beefy dudes being beefy. Hashtag beefy people stuff. But getting back to the point, oh, we've still got a lot of units to kill, so I suppose we'll get back to it. But anyways, getting back to the point, I bet that's what medieval knights and things looked like. They were probably super bulky. Like, they probably weren't, like, super yoked out like a Calvin Klein model or anything like that. I bet you anything, they were probably huge, just masses of muscle like you see in those strongman competitions. Like giant mountains of men. Kind of scary dudes to be fighting with. So anyways, as we're discussing it, it would be kind of crazy if you could hang out on a battlefield for 8 hours just with a Zweihander, or like with a battle axe, or with a mace or anything. Those things are not light. I mean, anybody that has bought, I mean, you guys are nerdy, so I'm assuming each of you probably owns 2 to 3 random, like, reproduction weapons. I do. I own loads of them. I don't buy them anymore because I've got so many at this point that I don't even know where to put them anymore. I just kind of, it was one of those infatuations I had when I was like 18 or 19 where I would go to Ren fairs and just buy a ton of weapons and then come home and be like, well, where am I going to put these? And so I have a few that are actually really nice where I'm not so sure the vendor knew what he was selling. I've got a few that are really, really nice, well-oiled pieces, and then I've got a bunch of just like the generic, just like terrible things that they sell at every Ren fair ever that are just like warped and stiff and like weird. But anyways, they look cool, and that's all that matters, so whatever. Is that battle number 2 out of the way? Okay, so the big battle is won. Let's see who we captured. Captured Kavel. We're going to take him prisoner, because I don't foresee us being at peace with Nords anytime soon. We have to wait until their downfall comes before we're going to accomplish anything on this battlefield, and that is the 100% truth. Until Nord starts to stumble, we really have nowhere to go in any of these lands. There's not anywhere that we can ride out to. Let's take a look at all of our upgrades that we can do. A lot of our men are pretty bashed up right now, so I think our best course of action is going to be to lay low for a bit. Get ourselves a few more knights. Luckily, we haven't lost a lot of knights, which is a good thing. And as we go down the list, I am going to use the control trick right here. And looking at our little force that used to be silly putty, it is now dried in the sun of our childhood. In the sun of our childhood indiscretion. I was trying to find the word that I wanted to use right there. I was like, word, think of it faster. Sometimes my mouth outruns my brain, and I'm just like, damn, I can't think of the one word that I need right now. And so it's like the consecrate to my paladin deck if you're playing Hearthstone. It's like, I really could use that right now because he just played Unleash the Hounds, and I'm feeling really kind of forlorn at the moment if I don't get a consecrate really, really soon. So let's get on that. Huh? RNG, you want to favor me right now? You want to come down the old pipe of favoritism and help me out with this situation? Just a little bit. I suppose we should probably get back into Swadian territory and get back into the fight. Let's see here. I need to make sure nothing's being looted. We just wiped out a major force right there. Like 4 to 7 guys is what we just wiped out. Chide is still pretty beat up, unfortunately. There is Nyalcha right there. So let's go beat him up slightly. Oh. But who is that? Ah, that's the king. We don't want to fight with Ragnarizzle. That is the last person that I want to get onto a battlefield with. I don't think we can handle him. We can handle a lot of things right now, but I mean, right now I could handle a tankard. I've been thinking about that all day. I've been thirsty today. I think I'm going to get myself nice and sauced tonight. Kids, don't drink. It's bad for you. Anyways, you have like this strange moment where like when I originally started LPing, I was like, to hell with that. I'm not a role model, like kicking in windows and like causing problems, and I was swearing a lot. And then I started getting emails from like 5-year-olds and stuff, and I was like, well, since people aren't like raising their own kids, it appears as though it has become my problem. And so maybe I'll be a nice human being and I just won't corrupt them outright. I guess there's not anywhere. God, they're doing a really great job at raiding out all these locations to make sure that I can't get any more knights. I suppose what I'll do is they're fighting over here with, it's king versus king. We could really decide who takes the lead right now. Oh, we can't get involved. Okay, well, I was going to think about getting involved and kind of be the trump card right there, that random vote that comes down the pipe and ruins everything for the guy that thinks he's got the battle taken care of. Let's wipe out these last 2 guys with the last couple seconds of our episode. And if we can get them up and out of the way, I don't really feel like I'm doing a whole lot of good right now. Oh, it's going to be the first person up this hill. I know it. I 100% know it, so we don't want to blow it. And if you really want to show it, clap your hands right now, I guess. I mean, if you're clapping right now, I've got like this thick sense for hearing my constituency, my Nerd Castle elite clapping at me. By the way, that's what I'm going to call you guys from now on. You guys wanted me to call you like kittens and stuff like that, but that seems sort of degrading. I mean, it is adorable. Hands down, it is adorable. I'm gonna call you guys the Nerd Castle Elite because I like that. And I feel like that elevates you guys rather than, like, there are a lot of people out there that have, when they refer to the people that watch their videos, I feel like the words that they use are not necessarily so nice. They seem a little bit disparaging. And so I wanted you guys to have a name that denoted power. It made it sound like you were in control of your destiny in the Nerd Castle. And so you guys are the NCE. You can abbreviate it now. I've even got pins and things that I was starting to print out that I might put up on, like, what's the name of that website where all people, I forget the name, Etsy. There we go. I was going to put up like a bunch of NCE pins on Etsy and things like that, like, because I'm punk rock as hell. And so back in the day when I was into punk rock, there was nothing I liked more than, like, pins, like buttons and pins, hell yeah, that I could stick all over everything. Backpacks, vests, whatever. Did you just try and hit me with a giant mace? You just tried to hit me with a pear on a stick. I don't like that. This is a battle that doesn't favor either of us. Like, we're on hills and we're doing cavalry battles. God, both of our armies are just like, I don't know what to do. It's like fighting in molasses. I'm so confused right now. Why are there so many ostriches? We wanted to get our Don Knotts on. God, Don Knotts. This battlefield is ridiculous. Andy! I love the Andy Griffith Show, by the way. The Andy Griffith Show is my shit. It is definitely... I can watch the Andy Griffith Show all day. I don't even know what it is about the Andy Griffith Show. It's just so wholesome. It's addictive. I don't like Leave It to Beaver, though, so I don't think it's just the wholesome nature of the show. I think that Andy Griffith and Don Knotts are legitimately funny. Like, it's just a absolutely funny show. It's a great show. It's like one of those hangovers from TV land that's just like everybody should watch it. It's great. I've never heard anybody that's just like, well, I was going to think, insert any amount of F words that you want, but I was going to say, I've never heard anybody be like, screw Andy Griffith, and just be super angry about Andy Griffith. Just like, show's overrated, that show totally sucks. Like, everybody loves Andy Griffith. It's like, who doesn't love Andy Griffith? I'd be like, what happened to you in your childhood where you didn't enjoy Andy Griffith? That was the one thing, like, typically as a kid, when the cartoons ended, they would always start with TV Land stuff, and if that's, I would turn it off instantly if it was anything other than the Andy Griffith Show. If it's the Andy Griffith Show, I was down, but if it was like, let's say I Dream of Jeannie or anything like that, I was like, I just wouldn't watch it. But anyways, that's going to be the end of our episode here. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in the Nerd Castle for another episode of Pillaging and Plundering. It's kind of inverse. Ooh, that's really good right there. I didn't expect to see that drop. Is it better than what we have? It's close. Not quite there, though. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care out there, everybody, and all the single ladies.